Welcome to the Good Intentions Show, coming to you live on the UI Radio Network. The Good Intentions Show is sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation at unitedintentions.org, a virtual community where you learn to create, track, and manifest your passions one intention at a time. Look for us on Blog Talk, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, and many more. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram under United Intentions and on Twitter at Higher Intention. Yes, this is the Good Intentions Show, where you will meet people who live life intentionally and hear about things they're not telling you in the mainstream media. And now, here's the truth seeker, the snake charmer, a legend in his own mind, broadcasting live all over the universe, your host, Mr. Tim Ray.
Well, it's the end of the week, and we have a very special surprise for you today. I am Tim Ray, the host of Good Intentions Show, co-hosting, I should say, with my very good friend, Mark Stephen Pooler, who's here as well, calling and zooming in all the way from the UK. God, don't you just love modern technology, guys?
Absolutely.
You gotta love that. Yeah. So, guys, today, it's all about surviving sexual abuse. And much more. And a lady that's going to blow your mind, Lori Pelzer, and she is the CEO of a company called, check this out, Girl Go Be Great Lifestyle Successes and Company. I mean, just think about this. It's all about getting past that shame of what's occurred in your life, whether it's sexual abuse, physical, emotional, doesn't really matter. It's the shame that we lock up and we hide away, which tears at us over time. And we're going to be discovering that and uncovering that today with her. So stay tuned and start sharing and caring. And this is going to be a very real show. So you're not going to want to miss this. Hello, WDJY listeners out there, 99.1 as well as 101.2, WTTA, Ohio, Kentucky, and everywhere else in the world on the UIMediaApp.com and the internet. You know, God, the internet. And enjoy the internet now while it's uncensored or somewhat uncensored, because you know how it is. You don't want to hear what you want to say, then they just shut you down. The man. Got to fight the man, right? But we're going to fight the man by giving alternatives in the UI Media Network, and that's what we do. Our mission here is simple, to allow people to share their authentic truth uncensored. Bam. Drop the mic, right? So you support us, we support you. So show your love. Show some hearts at least, right? All right, so we got coming up here, we got, I think I'm with holistic coach and shamanic practitioner, Tara Johnson on Monday, huh?
That's going to be great.
Yeah, she's just a firefly, isn't she?
Yes, sir.
I know, looking forward to that too as well. And guys, in ShiftCon, I can't tell you enough about this. You have to sign up now. Go to shiftconmedia.com. Shift, like shifting, conmedia.com. It's the influencers and the bloggers in the health and wellness world, the top influencers and bloggers that travel all around the country, around the world. And this year they're at Atlanta. And guess who's their media partner? UI Media Network. Come on. And also we're offering just for you all, for our listeners and viewers, UI Media. Type in UI Media when you go on the site to sign up for your tickets. UI Media, and guess what? You get 30% off whatever the tickets are. I know the tickets are pricey, so check that out. Go to shiftconmedia.com. Sign up now. Put in your special code UI Media, and you get 30% off. So do that right away. The whole team will be out there. Almost all the hosts are coming and circulating those 3 days. Come October 3rd, 4th, and 5th, right around the corner. So make sure you don't miss that. All right, without further ado, Mark, what do you want to say? Why don't you bring in our special guest, Mark?
I certainly will, and it's a pleasure to have Lori on the show today. And what really stood out to me was the story of tragedy turned into brilliance. I love a story of tragedy turned into brilliance to inspire and motivate people. Before we get started, I do want to mention that today's show is sponsored by Sarah Griffiths. If you're struggling to create loving relationships and finding it hard to trust, visit www.sallyg.com for a free 30-minute session. So let's get our guest onto the show, Lori Pelzer, international speaker, success coach. I'm so looking forward to today's show. Lori, welcome to the UI Media Radio Network.
Woo! Excited, honored, grateful.
It really is. when you walked in, because I'm not really the greatest energy reader, although I pick up on energy. I'm probably much more sensitive. I give myself credit for. However, when she walked in, I felt her energy, and it's very powerful. And it's amazing when you release this energy in your body, how it just exudes outside, and it's so effective and so what's the word? Contagious in a good way, right?
Yes.
So,
That's
wow.
a great word.
So why don't we start from the beginning, okay, Lori? Let's hear about growing up, because not only you went through this abuse, but also you were abandoned and you were teenage pregnancy. I mean, you did the whole gambit, right?
Yeah, the whole thing. The you kind of got the mashed potatoes, the chicken, the gravy,
The whole meal.
the whole meal, the full meal. The projects, the whole thing about living in the projects. We hear about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a new story.
No.
Mark and Tim, it's not a new story. And to all of the listeners, I'm super excited to be here to share this. I think a very important part of what you do here. The deal is, it's not about sex. It wasn't about this girl who wanted to have sex. More so about this girl who wanted to find love.
Yeah,
and
that's
who
good.
wanted her dad, and who wanted to be accepted and approved. And we all want connection. That's human. So she looked for it, and it showed up in a man 12 years older than her. He looked like dad. He felt like dad, but he wasn't dad. He was more like, my daughter absolutely hates it when I say this, but she's learned to respect it because it's true. He's a predator. He was a predator. I mean, 12 years older. I was pregnant once.
And how old were you?
17.
17.
And by 18, I had 2 babies, 2 C-sections, and a tubal ligation. And I say it that way because it's very, very real, because I didn't know I had a tubal ligation. It's one thing for someone that says, hey, do you want to stop having babies? And it's another thing to say, hey, this poor black girl, we're going to stop her from procreating. So I didn't find out my tubes were tied until I started taking care of myself as a woman.
God, these doctors, they have some gall. So all that was taken away from you at a very young age.
Yes, everything.
Right.
Everything was taken.
Right.
Yeah, everything. Hope, dreams.
Right. When did the sexual abuse begin?
As early as I can remember, probably around 12, my mother was looking for love in all of the wrong spaces with the wrong people.
Right.
And she, too, was looking for that thing, connection. My dad didn't give it to her. He left. He said, hey, this is not my daughter. So she was left with this hole, this big old hole in the trauma that holes leave. So every man bought a little more piece of trauma. So at the minute you get numb, everything in your body, your cells, they start to adapt to trauma and the drama. And so I was just that. I'm an outwardly beautiful woman.
Yes.
So as a girl, I was even more beautiful. I'm 50 now, like almost 50.
Whoa! Come on, man.
Good.
It's like a Tina Turner 50, right?
Ooh, I can't wait. Right? That's my girl. Like, Namyo Koreikyo. Like, I really am into that. Like, I really am. It's definitely meditation at the highest level.
Ooh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So here, and to go through this with no guidance, and your mom was doing, I guess, the best she knew how to do with what tools she had.
That is correct.
It's amazing how, it takes half a lifetime to grow up, and we go, oh my God, our parents so screwed us all up, right? And then we look back, we're like, well, what other choice they had?
Yeah, they didn't know what they didn't know.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's loving someone is perhaps sometimes it's not enough.
Right, absolutely. And that took the journey to understand she didn't know what she didn't know. Too.
Right. And during that discovery process, going through there, I think a lot of people think, well, they had this traumatic abuse, they had this horrible situation. But the journey itself of when you're going from this heavy level, I say deep programming, reprogramming yourself, it's not easy because you don't have money, you often don't have resources, but you still got to go forward and deal with the stuff coming up in your consciousness, right?
That's right. It's unlearning, right?
Yeah.
And today I teach a lot of unlearning, but it's what your cells start to learn, which is key.
Epigenetics, Mark. Yeah.
That's right. So this energy you feel from me, it's the unlearning, it's the deprogramming. It's the new setting of an intention to live a powerful life. Like, no one gets to control this energy I have. Like,
love it.
Right? And so It's even marrying the guy who's pretty cool and laid back and doesn't talk much until I said, hey, dude, can we talk? But no, he gets me.
Yeah.
And
he's in studio too, off to the right. You can't see him, but Mark, but he's a cool dude.
yeah, he's retired. He's
know.
cool and
Yeah.
he's kicked back.
Yeah.
But I had to learn to forgive every single person in the journey and take 100 responsibility for it all. So it's my rapes, it's my molestations,
Right.
it's my drama, my traumas.
Do you know how hard it is? Stop there for a second, Lori, because you know how hard it is for folks to actually claim that experience and take ownership of it. Because if there's any sympathy towards somebody of playing the victim or being the victim, it would be, I would have to say, for childhood rapes and molestation. Because you know, how can a child create that environment, right?
Correct.
But so in that process of, for the average person listening who has been sexually abused, who does separate themselves from that experience because that's something happened to me and that's not my fault. How do you claim that? How do you incorporate that into your creation?
That is a powerful question, and I was excited you would ask it. because that's the question most don't really want to know. How do we get out of that victim space, right? And into this brilliant space, right? This powerful, courageous space. So number one, we accept. We let go. Number one, we let go and we surrender to the act of it all. Every single thing. We forgive ourselves because we had nothing to do with it. Okay? We accept, we forgive ourselves. Then we go through this journey of, hey, could this really be a part of my story? Could this really be a part of what I'm supposed to actually have experienced? You start asking the deep questions.
Right.
Of could this be? Could this be the acres in my diamonds, the acres of diamond story?
Yeah. The pearl in the shell, right?
Yeah, could it be? And for me, it was. It's the one thing that I get to own, right? And I get to use it however I want. There's someone working on my book, right? And the question was, are you going to say your abusers' names in the book? They could sue you. That was the question, Lori. I said, absolutely. I remember most of them. Absolutely. I said, that would be great. That would be great.
I
own this story.
Yes, and it is your story, and they sue you, then that just shines light on them, and trust me, that's just a big initial scare. But nevertheless, people have to understand that that is your story.
It is my story.
They gave that over to you when they chose to victimize you.
That's correct.
And you claimed it back, and now you own that.
I own it.
And that's very powerful. It is very powerful, Lori. So here it is. You've gone through this experiences.
Mm-hmm.
When did the tide is turned when you're going down that rabbit hole of self-worthlessness and self-destructive, self-sabotaging behavior?
Mm-hmm.
At what moment do you remember that moment when they started going back up? I mean,
I do. I remember it was a day that I wanted to actually kill my 2 babies.
Oh God.
I was 18. Everyone was going to college. Mark, Tim, everyone was headed to college. I wanted to be an attorney. Okay, that was my childhood dream in the 5th grade. I won the Lieutenant's Governor's Awards about what do you want to be when you grow up? And for me, as an attorney. So I truly remember that day. I could smell it. Right? I always teach my clients sensory experiences. I can smell it.
Yeah, hold that thought.
Yeah.
Hold that thought, because this is really going to be deep, and I want you to put some more thought into it while we take a quick break here.
Sure.
Guys, we're talking to Lori Pelzer. She's not only an international speaker on the rise, but she's also a success coach. And what else do you know about Lori, Mark?
I know from a great contact who said you need to interview Lori, which is Unstoppable Tracy, who is a guest on our next show.
Oh, wow.
We are coming to a commercial break, so let's pick up. There's a lot to be said about the power of forgiveness. We will catch up straight after the break.
Do you find it hard to trust and feel you have no control? Do you struggle to create loving relationships and feel guilty and ashamed? And do you feel not good enough, disconnected, and rejected? Sarah can change all of that with and for you. Sarah Griffiths is a sexual abuse trauma expert and specializes in helping people heal from the trauma of sexual abuse. She will help you feel whole again and remove all of those negative feelings, even when you think you have tried everything. Her methodology is cutting edge, unique, fast, and it works. Find out about her free 30-minute session at www.sallyg.com. That's SALLYG.com and experience it for yourself. Every emotional issue has a solution. Let Sarah help you find yours.
Back to the Good Intentions Show, and today we are having such an incredible conversation. It's really going deep, and we have got the amazing Lori Pelzer, international speaker, success coach. And everyone, remember, you can get involved in the show. Call in, ask Lori a question on 678 495 4345. Let's pick up with the conversation because it was really getting deep. Tim, over to you.
Sure. Well, Lori, we just before we went on about how that turning point. Every time there's Phoenix rising, you know, there has to be the ashes. There has to be that burning, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's usually some type of conscious awakening. Some people hear voices or from God, or some people have just enough. They can't take the pain anymore. Describe like the scenario where you were, what was going on in your life. Give us a 3D experience of that.
So we were tapping into the smell of it, and I could still smell it, feel it, see it, and the sensory experience, right? You never ever let that go. That is real. So there's also something called that awakening process. Now I understand it. I didn't understand it then, Tim. The Kensho awakening, Ken, right?
Yeah.
SHOI.
Right.
And the Satori awakening. That wasn't a Satori awakening for me. That wasn't an you know, you hear it, you feel it, you grab it. That was a Kensho, very painful awakening, where I was just steps away from killing my 2 children and myself. They were babies, both laying down, I'll never forget, in the bed. And I was at my grandmother's. I'm not sure where my mother was. No one is around. Everyone is going off to college. I'm feeling very disconnected. All the dreams I thought, they were just dead. You know, I spoke French fluently, graduate top of my class, okay? And all of this amazing stuff is in me. It's just inside, trapped. And I see 2 little babies, less than 11 months apart, laying there. And all I could think of, and that's the old way, you know, you cut your wrist. You don't take pills. Poor people, we didn't have pills, right? You cut your wrist. That's the most accessible. And my grandmother does a double bag. She was headed to the grocery store, the Piggly Wiggly, never forget it. And she doubles back. She never forgets anything, never. She comes back and she interrupts. She interrupts the death process of me and 2 babies. I'm always sensitive when I hear the stories of women who have committed that act because I know the moment in which she has that deep, dark Kensho awakening moment where everything is awakened just in the dark. Right? It's just a dark awakening.
Yes.
Because you don't see light.
No.
And so she interrupts me. She's like, Lori. And I'm going, yeah. She go, what are you doing in the bathroom? What's going on? And she didn't really know, but she could sense it. It didn't look right. So I tried to hurry up and put all the stuff together.
Yeah.
But what later I found, I was in postpartum depression also.
Yep. How old are the babies? Months old?
They're Jessica, who's 30 now, who's my operations manager with 2 degrees, right? Who's a powerhouse millennial.
Right.
She was at that time about 6 months.
6 months. Right.
And Scott was 7.5 months, 8 months. You know, they were babies,
Sure.
under 11 months, both of them.
Right.
And he's 31, on his own business, gone to college, all that great stuff. And I have a granddaughter with him, from him.
So at that moment, divine intervention, of course.
Absolutely.
Your grandmother, right?
Grandmother.
Never normally ever came back. She comes back in, sees the suicide death march here is set up, and doesn't even realize it, but just shifts you out of this possession. You were possessed.
I was.
I mean,
Yes.
to me, I think so many people don't realize that beyond the veil of our three-dimensional world, there is this whole other world of great, beautiful forces and great, dangerous forces, right?
Yeah.
And it influences us in different ways and many different things. And here it is, you're caught into this hypnotic state of not only killing yourself, but killing your two infants. And you had the whole setup.
Yeah.
And she shows up, shakes you out of that, detaches you.
Yes, completely.
And what was that first thought that came into your head at that point when that snapped you out?
I cried. I just simply bust out crying. I said, Grandma, my life is over. Like, it's over. There is nothing. And she says, that's not true. And I can remember later that day, this is funny, but it's so awesome. We ate hot dogs. I love hot dogs today. But I get to eat Nathan's now, though. I don't have to get the cheap ones. I don't have to eat the cheap ones. But I still like the cheap chili. Melvin makes the chili, but I still Calaberry in the can, right?
So there it was. You had this release, and I guess things just cleared out at that moment. That release of the cry.
Yeah, the cry.
I mean, was
the
it
cry?
Did you feel deep in you?
I do. I still feel it. And then my grandmother got involved. She called my mother's sister, who's the one in the family who's gone on to create something.
Right.
And she got involved because at this point, everyone's thinking she's just a fast girl.
Yeah.
You get labeled.
Yeah.
She's just a girl doing these things, smart but fast.
Yeah.
That word. And next thing I know, there's a knock on the door. And he has a full uniform on in the next 3 days. He's the U.S. Army guy.
Oh, wow.
And that was the real big, huge opportunity.
Yeah.
So I became a soldier for the next 5 years.
And you handed yourself your fate over to that because you felt, I guess, that was your way out.
Yeah, it was absolutely the only way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many people running from polices and FBI agents.
Sometimes for good reason,
The U.S. Army. The U.S. Army will take you in. I know. Good old Uncle Sam. They helped me see that I still had potential. You need a potential way shower.
Had to break you down and then rebuild you.
Absolutely.
And here it is, the two children. It's amazing how it's like, my favorite movie, Mark, is It's a Wonderful Life. And it's always has been. I never really knew that. Not just one of my favorite Christmas movies. I mean, all-time movie.
It's a great one.
And it's just, you just don't know the impact you have on one person's life if you never lived or existed. And one decision at that time, when you're in that moment of darkness, the moment of not only suicide, but the moment of what do they call that when the multiple, not homicide, but anyway, I can't think of the name.
Yeah.
And you were about to make that decision, and you didn't. You had intervention.
Yeah.
And do you look back now and say this was, of course, divine? But did your grandmother hear voices? Did you ever follow up and find out anything?
Yeah, me and my grandmother talk all the time, and she loves me. Like, if I don't call her, like, I owe her a call today.
She's calling
like
Grandma.
She didn't know I was in Canada, and so I'm just back. And so Grandma is, she said there's just something special about you, Lori, out of all of her grandchildren.
Right.
And I truly believe God in the heavens and the universe, whatever your beliefs are, there is a higher power working for you. If you're positioned for it. Even though it looks as grave as it looked, I was positioned for it, right?
So it could have went either way, free will.
Yeah, either way. Because 30 years later, I'm the one at the class reunion, right? Everyone wants me to speak at the class reunion, right? The 20-year class reunion, and it's been an incredible journey ever since.
Well, that's fantastic. And then people think, well, once you have this transformation, it's easy peasy, and now comes the real work, right?
Oh, yeah.
Once you choose, that's why they say it's, the stairway to heaven versus the highway to hell, right?
I love it.
The stairway, you gotta walk your way up. It's not easy getting up there, You
got to take life full throttle. I can tell you that.
And I think you do that, Lori. So you moved on from there, and you started. What was your first? You joined the Army service, and then things just changed.
Yeah, things changed because I was able to meet people, do things, see things that I could have never saw or believed was possible. You got to love drill sergeant in your ear at 4 a.m. and I want soldier to cycle. But even in that moment, this is what I know I work when I work with my clients. I said, listen, if you have pain, you're not dead.
Hi, I'm Tim Ray, founder of the Good Intentions
My
Foundation.
favorite movie with Demi Moore.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And she's out there outdoing the guys.
Yeah.
Do I
All
need a
the other guys
realtor
in
to
here.
help me
Yeah, I
sell
know,
my
right?
house?
Yeah, that was you.
It's easy to
She
find
cut
a
her hair
house,
off.
right?
She cut
Does
her
this
hair
sound
off, right?
familiar? Are
And
you
she
and or your
becomes a seal.
significant other
Right.
stay?
But if you're not dead, pain lets you know you're not dead.
Mm,
And so here again, I'm not saying stay in pain, but I'm saying respect the pain,
right.
honor the pain,
Feel the pain.
feel the pain,
Embrace it, right?
embrace the pain.
A lot of people don't realize how critical that is because we live in a world, and for the most part, we avoid feelings.
Yeah, we avoid feelings and safety. We love safety. We go to work, we go home, we get in our snug little spots. We listen to Donald Trump, and hey, do Donald, don't do Donald.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
many Donald books
yeah.
in my house. Money Donald. Hey,
Yeah.
I'll take the money Donald.
Yeah, I always say, man, why do you, don't worry about the messenger. Just listen to whatever the message is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, get in it.
But so when did you actually have time to process the abuse and the neglect and the abandonment throughout that period of time?
Well, it shows up again. Okay, let's be real clear about
Okay.
what happens in the process.
Right.
So the process is always in your cells. So trauma sits where it actually happened. So for my trauma, for your trauma, whoever's listening, if there's some or drama,
Right.
it's still there if it has not had an opportunity to go through the unlearning process.
Actual energetic energy in those actual molecules in those cells
Correct.
in that area.
That is correct.
Right.
And that is real.
That's real.
Okay, you can do a lot of deep studying around it.
Yeah.
We don't have time today, but for
Yeah.
sure, that's the overview. Thank you for just clarifying that for our listeners.
Right.
Because the truth is, once we get the cells to respond to something stimuli, and that could be just light, just getting out in the light of sharing the story, right? That could be part one. Part two happens when we own the story. So we got to be taught how to own it, give ourselves permission to own it. Then part three, and that brings us out of shame and guilt, put us in a space of vulnerability, which is powerful. It's not weakness. It is absolute brilliant power. So we got to be taught all of these new concepts, right? And then we got to get taught modalities, how to tap our way through it. Wake us up again. Wake ourselves up. Do a little more meditation, deep breaths. We got to be taught the modalities of how to operate in it.
Being a human being.
Being alive and a human being.
And dealing with that post-traumatic stress. I mean,
And it will always be there.
Yeah.
And then understanding the triggers of it. So when we understand the triggers of it, we're able to then say, okay, now what journey should I take, Tim? Like, what should I take? Should I take the medicine journey? Should I take the wellness journey that's more holistic, right? And then learn what that looks like. For me, it's grounding, going by the water.
Right.
But I had to be taught all of that because where I'm from, there's no water, there's bricks, right?
You imagine water,
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't indulge in things, overindulge in sex. Sex is
Right.
good,
Yeah.
but it is not the full answer,
Right.
right? So do you need to release some dopamine? You got to know what you need. So you need an expert like myself, success experts, or psychotherapist to get it, who understands this traumatic cell.
Release.
There you go. Tim, you're awesome.
Oh,
Like, you awesome. Seriously.
What about me?
Mark, you're awesome. I love you guys.
But it is. I've worked with these integrative doctors.
Yes,
and,
integrative doctors.
and they all understand that energy modality is critical part of our healthcare, not just a chemical response. And
Absolutely.
And when we do have that trauma, and it's released in the body. There is an energetic release, and that's where, it affects your thoughts and feelings.
Correct.
Right?
That's
And
correct.
that's when things change.
And your brain has a shift in it.
Right.
So when that
right.
brain starts to open back up.
Can I interrupt and come to our next part after the break?
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
we're just ready to go to a commercial break.
Yeah.
We have covered so far sex, depression, committing suicide, and many other things. Who would not want to join us after the break?
Oh, yeah.
Well done. We'll get into what Lori's up to now, and how she's just transformed, not in her life. Now she's transforming millions out there. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Are you ready to be the hero of your own story?
It's time to put the power of your health back into your hands. Join us for our free 25-day journey to get your life back now from chronic illness. Our doctors and experts will guide you back to optimal health.
Here in Florida, you may have heard about Governor Rick Scott doing the spraying for the Zika epidemic. It turns out that the World Health Organization announced there is no Zika epidemic. It's not an epidemic. And it's actually, as studies show, this is literally one of the planes spraying, but it is Naled, whether it's Naled, malathion, but Naled, which Dibram is the name brand of Naled, which is ironically morbid, spelled backwards. Dibram and Naled are shown to cause developmental delays and can cause birth defects. Rick Scott, he owns millions in stock for the mosquito spray companies. And we have to thank Florida Bulldog, who is a watchdog group, nonprofit, who found out that information and were the first to break it.
Go to www.getyourlifebacknow.live and begin your journey today.
Welcome back to the Good Intentions Show, and what an incredible conversation we're having with Lori Pelzer, international speaker and success coach. Like I said, we've touched on depression, committing suicide, murder, sex. Who does not want to join us for the rest of this conversation? What stands out to me, Lori, you've got such an uplifting energy and you're here to inspire people with your story. And I think that can actually make people not actually understand what you did actually go through, because listening to your story, you must have had some really dark moments that were really hard to overcome. I congratulate you for moving forwards and helping so many people, because I know that must have been a really difficult past to have to go through. Was it the army and the discipline that really started to make the change for you?
It was. I will tell you that the Army is a very sacred space. It is about trusting team versus I. I had been all it was. Team allows you to get support. Team allows you to connect. And that's what we all need. Need can sometimes be a disempowering word, and I share with my clients, you only use need when it is necessary. But we need connection. So I was able to feel these strangers, quote unquote, become a part of my connection. I was able to then see places, experience things that said there's a big world beyond the projects. So all we have to really do is become, believe it or not, this is funny, eat a lot of Japanese food and travel the world.
Had me at sake. So Japanese. Yeah, listen, that's pretty much, and when that's a real education.
Right.
I mean, not indoctrination in the school system, but education is world traveling.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing. And then you just from then on just started picking up, and you started having one success after another success, and each one begets the other.
That's correct.
And at what point did things start really exploding for you, where you're like, okay, I'm in the driver's seat. I'm not in the back seat anymore here, and I'm just taking over my world, and then you started seeing changes in the reality, I assume, with your children and with
it was phenomenal. It was a now Satori awakening happening. There was ahs, there was divine just moments where I would get these downloads. Prior to that, there were no downloads. Okay, downloads have a set time. It can only come and show up in an open person
when you're ready.
That's correct. Open.
Yes,
that's right. Open person. So I'm open. I'm wide open, right? So I'm 5 years after the military. I meet Melvin. Sometime there in between, he was ex-Marine and Johnson & Wales graduate. I called him a cook. He says, absolutely not. I'm a chef. So I thought if I want to get this guy, I better learn the difference between cook and chef, right? I better respect the code and hoorah and all of that. So Melvin married me with 2 children that were not his own, that he's raised from 5 and 6 years old with me. Yeah, we're going on 26 years of marriage.
No kidding.
There was that moment. He says, babe, what do you want to do? I was 9 years into nursing, which I got that career in the military. But I knew every night, like that thing starts to thump. What's next? What is it? What are you here to do? What's your purpose? What are you here to do? What's your purpose? It'll keep asking you until you answer, right? And if you don't answer, it'll keep asking you. So you can die with it if you choose, or you can answer. So I chose to answer, right? My mom got sick with cancer, and it was my perfect moment. So people say, your mom got sick with cancer, and you go out on family medical leave act to go to real estate school. Yep, perfect time. Take care of mom, go to real estate school. So mom is like, go for it. I became a real estate agent. That was my first taste of entrepreneurship, first taste of helping people with the dream, the American dream, and my first taste of owning my own everything, life, schedule, money.
And you became independent in the sense, although, there is no true independence. We're all dependent on each other on some degree. I mean, just the supermarket alone, somebody had to bring the food in there, and everything.
Absolutely.
But you had that taste of your independence, of being a victim from the past, transforming it to be the victor, the person who now owns what she's experiencing. And then now, as you're claiming your power back, you had a calling, maybe a download or an opening of now, what can you do for others?
Yes, completely. Why are you here? And I knew I was here to change lives. So that's why I didn't sell houses. I got an assistant to do all the showings. I hated showing houses. Women want to look at 30. I love her. But I'm here to empower her to know she can have it. That was my sweet spot. A coach told me that. I've been working with coaches since I recognized I had this great power in me. So it could be kind of like not all over the place, Tim.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And my first coach was a guy. White guy, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, it's important to say that.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm open.
You're open. Yeah.
I'm open.
You're not limited. You're not putting those horse blinders on that we're being conditioned at a young age to do. Trust that, trust them, don't trust them.
Don't go
there.
there.
Don't trust the service. Don't trust the police. Don't trust whatever it may be.
So he says, Lori Pelzer, you're awesome. You're this, you're that, you're this. My husband will be with me. And he calls me, he says, come on over here. Are you finished for the day? I'm like, yeah, I want to go home. He's like, oh, there's no going home. Come on over to the office. So his name is John. And John would call me over to the office and he would sit me down. He would tell me, this is what a great real estate broker does. They take care of this, this, and this. So I learned it from a inward out place. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And I became a top brand in my city.
And amazing. And how you, everything's placed in our path at certain times when we're open to it. And that voice, that listening, that download, it's very subtle. I mean, it's a very subtle, and if you're not listening, and you're really not in a love frequency of listening, you can't hear it.
Oh, I just got chills, Tim. Tim, you're awesome. Mark, y'all awesome. Y'all touch it. Y'all got it.
So here it is as you're listening now, because you're open.
Yeah.
What was the next level up download you had, or that you need to be doing beyond real estate?
So I began to inspire. So I began to motivational speak, and I began to help people align passions and dreams with what is really, really possible for them. So I would hold seminars in my city every 2 weeks or so forth, and they used to get packed out, right? People struggle to get 10 in the room. I would have 50, 100 people in the room. And it was my thing that lit me up. It was better than anything ever, and I was able to see lights go on in people's eyes. Bing,
bing,
bing, and we would leave, and I would hug every single person. I still hug people. I don't run out the room.
Make sure I get my hug before you leave.
You can have it.
And what about me?
Right?
You get a virtual hug, Mark.
A virtual hug, Mark. And it just got stronger. And the more we feed something, our passions, and become insatiable about it, it will honor you, you honor it, and it honors the people you're here to serve. So I knew then I don't want to sell houses, I want to sell dreams. You hear people say that, they try to sell that, but you know they're not a dream seller. When you get them, they're like, listen, I want to close the sale. And there were times I would leave my check at the closing because I've gotten so caught up in the transaction of the eyes and the dreams. And my secretary would call back and she would be like, you forgot your check again? I was like, oh, y'all go pick it up. Go get the check. Make sure you get the check. But it was to see the light bulb go off, to see people primarily I worked with a lot of African American families who didn't believe in the power of inspiration. That inspiration could get you a home, not your credit.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
You're right. Yeah.
And we'll get the credit taken care of. We'll get the money taken care of.
What advice do you have for folks out there, single moms or whatever the case, where they're just fighting, poverty is about to walk in that front door, whether they have a man or not assisting or whoever? What advice do you have for them to stay focused and and not give up?
So right now I'm on what is called the Girls Your Life Success Tour. It's a tour I created. I've been on it for 2 years, Tim and Mark. I'm traveling around the country. I'm in my last 3 stops. Texas is going through a flood situation now, so we've had to reschedule as of yesterday. I'll end up in Memphis, Tennessee, and then Toronto, Canada. So I've been on a 17-city tour. This is what I've said to every single woman in the room. I don't classify her as single mom. I'm going to take that one back from you if that's okay. Been there, done that. What I want her to classify herself as is a powerful woman standing for her and her children, just standing. She's just standing. Now, standing doesn't look like she's alone. Single mom puts her away. It separates her. Not that it's not real. It's just that if she shifts her paradigm, her perspective, she'll no longer be alone. Single mom says, I'm alone. Standing says, I'm here.
Right.
Okay, can we start there?
I love that. Yes.
Okay, let's start there.
Right.
So the first 4 they're quick. Number 1, we got to rebuild her courage. Number 2, we got to rebuild her thinking around permissions, who she's given permission to.
Give her power up.
Right? Who we need to take it back from.
Right.
Number 3, we got to build her persistence again. What is she persistent about? Right? We there?
Yep.
And then number 4, which is always the most powerful one, we got to rebuild her action-taking mechanism.
Ooh.
Stretch her capacity.
It's all about action.
Right.
Yes.
So standing, I guess
versus being single.
Being single, right? Showing up.
That's correct.
And then you have your permission. Getting your permission. Finding where you got your permission from others, and then taking your power.
That's right.
Back.
We teach her how to do that again. Right. Courage.
Yeah. And then the other one is the persistence. Now, looking at this as an ongoing process. Always
correct.
Standing, always getting my power back, staying the course.
That's correct.
And then finally is the action.
That's the action.
Knowing now to when to strike and take action.
That's correct.
Wow.
Helping her teach her 2 things. Becoming agile.
Right.
Right. A word that's not used a lot, Mark. Right, Tim? Agile.
Like a cat.
That's right. Agile. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
You can throw them any which way, and they're going to land on their feet, baby.
That's right. And I'm going to land. And I'm going to show her how to land, right? Becoming agile.
Oh, you pussycats out there. There you go.
I love it, Tim. I like you. Mark, I like Tim. I like you, too. I love your smile, Mark. And I love you. Guys, the audience got to know. Well, anyway.
So, okay. So you have this, and you can actually coach them to stay in each of these different phases.
That's correct. Those are the 4 powerful stages. And in the middle of all of that, we teach self-sacrificing, letting it go, self-sabotaging acts and thoughts, and the automatic processing that comes on. So if I say, hey, you're not a single mom, and she goes right into, but I gotta do, but I gotta run the kid. No, we're gonna use new words. So we replace her old words with new words to shift her paradigm. Right. Because if not, she'll stay a single mom forever. She won't get a husband. She can have a husband. I know she can have a husband. I know this. If that's what she wants. So we teach her how to manifest, and we get into those after she get past the 4 blocks.
Yeah, because it's scary. It's scary because, women, and I was talking to Teal Swan about this, and she talks about how, women there's a more natural fear of a woman being a woman than it is for a man. Like, for example, I always use the example all the time. That men don't have to call their guy friend and say, listen, I'm going on a date with this new girl here, just I'll let you know where I'm going to be. It would never even come across their head.
Right, that's a good point.
Where girls, they like,
good. That was good.
Girls are like, hey, listen, I don't know this guy,
Right.
So there's this like being a nurturer, receiving of energy, of a female energy, and it could be straight, gay, doesn't matter, but it's the energy, it's the energy of the feminine energy, right?
That's correct.
And then same thing with the males.
On that note, Can we pick up after the commercial break?
Mark's always the party pooper, isn't he? You know,
Mark is
What
doing
a
his
show
thing.
so far.
absolutely,
We've
Mark.
talked about change, transformation. I'm ready to go out and dominate the world. I'm feeling inspired. Let's pick up with the great conversation straight after the commercial break with Lori Pelzer, international speaker.
Live every day with purpose with the Seeds of Intention Daily Planner.
A goal is just a dream until you write it down. Now, the awesome thing about writing things down is because in a year's time, you can see all of the specific things that are actually in your life right now. You can really chronicle the progression of the relationship and how you got from one goal to the next to the next.
To learn more, go to unitedintentions.org and click on Shop and make the commitment today to make the authentic change.
Download the UI Media Smart app at uimediaapp.com to watch and listen to all your favorite shows anytime from anywhere in the world. Shows that enrich, entertain. Download the UI Media Smart app at uimediaapp.com to watch and listen to all your favorite shows anytime from anywhere in the world. Shows that enrich, entertain, educate, and feeds the conscious cells throughout your body. We bring you never heard before topics in health, inspiration, music, psychics, numerology, current affairs, controversies, and much, much more. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.uimediaapp.com and start raising your frequency now.
Welcome back to the Good Intentions Show, and what a really great show we're having so far with my amazing host Tim Ray, the amazing Lori Pelzer, international speaker, success coach, and myself, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have covered so much today, and I truly am inspired. Tim, pick up where we left off.
Sure, and we'll get into where we left off. I just want to mention, because you're walking out with one of these, or two of these things, right? This and so this is the Seeds of Intention. You saw a commercial on that if you're listening on the break, and this is basically, I call it where Franklin Covey meets Law of Attraction. And so you're able to keep up with your daily tasks as well as create intentions. And what you're doing is when you get from here onto paper, you're clearing space for other new information, whether it's downloading or you're learning, whatever it may be. And you put it on something that's more permanent where you could actually track it. And when you the law of attraction, Lori, when you actually think of something and then you see it appear in your life,
that is correct.
You can now measure it and put it on there. And every time you realize I created that, it becomes an empowerment journey. Now you're not the victim anymore. Now I'm the co-creator with God of what happens in my life. And this is a way for you can measure that, and you could actually look back and see all your successes and count on it.
Yes.
So it's really a great little tool there. Go to unitedintention.org, Shopify, and you can pick one up. Amazing. So we left off, Lori, talking about this following this void energy, and I think we left off on where that leads you and where you were. You had the four successes of not four successes,
just pillars.
The four pillars of when we were talking about single moms, taking it to the next level of getting them out of a I can't do this life thing to wow, I'm not going to survive, I'm going to thrive.
Absolutely.
And so talk more about your thriving process, because people, I mean, we can't just exist. I mean, we could, most of us exist, and we do survive and we go through the motions of life, but we're not living life, we're just going through the motions of life, right?
Like this it just kept driving here in front of me. Get your life back, right?
Yeah.
So the Girls Your Life tour, part of that is firing back up, right? Getting full throttle. And women hear the words, but they don't know how to do it. So my job is to come in there and teach her how to do it. And the first thing I get her to do is move. Kinesiology, movement.
Action.
Right? Action, movement. So the first thing we do is start dancing off Diana Ross, I'm Coming Out. Right?
I'm coming out. Yeah.
I want the world to know. Got to let it show. And Dinah knew this before we knew it.
Yeah.
So movement is key. So we got to get her to moving again. We talked about frequency, energy. I teach, what is your aura? Do you know your aura?
Right.
Do you know how you smell when you walk in a room?
Ooh.
Right?
Check that out. Yeah.
And not your perfume as a woman, but can I smell you when I see you?
Yeah.
Can I feel you when I look at you? Do you like the room, or are you just like part of the wall? So I want you to come out into the room. So to get her to be seen is to upgrade her energy.
Right.
So this next level looks like those conversations.
Yeah.
And as we talked about integrative healing, we're talking about the idea of energy, frequency, and utilizing things like synchronizing yourself with the universe and the heavens. Get in a co-creative space. You got to learn all this stuff if you don't know it, right? So we don't expect you to know it all. That's why you have to get with people who do this. It's hard to trust what you don't know.
God, it's amazing actually because what we do, we are a numbed out society. We numb out through addictions, through sex, through drugs, through work.
That's correct.
Almost anything you can throw a dart on, you can see we're avoiding feeling.
Yes, we're avoiding.
And you are such a powerful woman of feeling. I mean, can you not sense that, guys? I mean, my God.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I know. And so you bring this feeling into wherever interactions you go, I'm sure. And it is they pick up on that.
Yes.
And you brace those five senses and to a extreme level.
Yes.
So you could feel your way through as you're coaching people through success.
Yes.
So when you're in that mode and you don't care about the check on the table, and you're
Still
just
today.
Yeah. and you're in that moment with that person. What does it feel like to truly transform somebody's life to where, because you were there so many years ago, but and you had your moment of transformation, and how you're touching people's lives. I mean, it must be a pretty incredible experience.
Yeah, I say that I'm a blend between Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I can keep going down the list. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Dalai Lama. I mean, I can keep going. Right, Nelson Mandela.
Ooh.
And Maya Angelou.
Oprah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm all in it. This
Right,
is the blend, and so on a daily basis, we have to die to live every single day. So when I get someone in that dying space, we do break down to break through. So it happens to her, it's happening through me, through her, energetically, spiritually, even through virtual lines.
Right, yeah.
So I get excited. And my husband says I have meetings in my sleep.
And conversations, I'm sure.
He says yes. He sometimes wakes me up, depending if he wants to listen. He says it'd be really good, babe. So I live with this. So to answer your question, because of that blend of who I am, I find this to be serious. So to see her succeed is more than a coaching paycheck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
my paychecks are manifested.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of seeing that. My paychecks are the manifesting process, right? That's a great way to look at that. I mean, beautiful stated. So tell me what you got coming up. What's next for you here? Tell us about your Go Girl, Be Great lifestyle company and what you're doing and how people can reach you too and get the good word out and be part of this.
This is good. It's really simple. If you just go to, so let's just say if you are looking for me to come in and just transform your entire organization in terms of being in the front of your room as a quote unquote speaker.
Yeah.
I'm not the typical speaker.
You're
cater,
real.
I cater what you need. And give you some stuff that you didn't know you wanted. But I can be reached by contacting my operations manager, which is very simple. She answers her phone.
Great.
And she answers emails, which is 470-295-9681. That's Jessica.
Okay.
But if you want to find me online, you go to Facebook. Everyone is on the book, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is on Instagram. And it's my name. It's no tricky stuff.
Oh, really?
Lori.
Yeah.
Lori Pelzer. Pelzer. Now, what I got going on right now is I'm on tour. I'm on my last 3. I'm headed to Canada as a closeout. And I'm super excited about Canada. I have Unstoppable Tracy as one of my keynotes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yay.
Wow.
And we get to do the thing, which is Tracy's thing. And we are energetically connected, spiritually grounded together. And we are intertwined and synchronized in what we're called to do.
Ooh, love that.
And that's the only people I bring in to keynote my stage.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So she's with me in Canada. I would love women who are listening who can get to Canada to be there. Right? Toronto is a skip and a hop away.
You ever bring any men with you?
I'm considering you guys.
Can you put me in your pocket?
I can.
All right.
I think, Tim, you could come. You and Mark. I think we're going to talk.
I would say people out there get to this event.
Yeah.
I can just see who wants a typical speaker at their event.
Yeah.
Book Lori. She would really rock the roof. And also Unstoppable Tracy. I watched her YouTube, not YouTube, it was a TEDx talk.
Yes.
It is phenomenal. We have her on our show on the 4th of October.
Oh.
I cannot wait. People out there, go to Canada. Toronto is beautiful.
Ooh.
I was there in April. I can promise you, you will not be disappointed as well.
I love that. So, it's just some things to be proud about in your life. And
how did I know you was about to go there?
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, seriously, because I was going to say
You're
we could
downloading
close
that.
there. I was. Yeah.
So,
I knew it.
and I have 2 boys myself, right?
Okay.
We're always concerned how we want to be proud of our kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
We very seldom think about how our kids feel proud of us. You know, we don't never look at that mirror because we're so focused on they got to do this and then that. But if you were to put yourself in your boy and your girl's mind right now in their life, how would they feel about you?
They're incredibly, okay, let's laugh a little bit. They're incredibly scared of me.
Old soldier comes out in her,
Yeah, my sons go, Mom, you're crazy. That's his first word, but now he gets it a lot more.
Yeah.
But my daughter said to me, she'll text me and says, you are truly an incredible woman, and I don't know what I would do without you and how you do what you do. She'll send me things like that. But I believe that they are more than super proud to call me mom, right? My granddaughter is the best, though. She sings about me. She sings about, girl, you go be great, and my grandmother Lori is coming out. She's the one, And here's a quick story. Y'all gotta love this.
Yeah.
This is a perfect way to end.
Sure.
So I have a 9-year-old granddaughter. And my 9-year-old granddaughter went through a really tough 3rd grade. Her name is Madison, a.k.a. Maddie. And her 3rd grade was confusing and struggled because her dad is in South Carolina, her mother's in Georgia. And her mother is in, quote unquote, in the single mother thing, right?
Yeah.
And her dad is in the I'm outside dad thing. So they're in their things. So we're in the middle, Melvin, me, and my daughter Jess, being her what? Her support, getting her open. Now, her mother is, and her other grandmother is, but there's that thing, if you don't know what you don't know. So I'm going to just leave all of that there and just say this. She was having breakdowns in class, under the desk, having outbursts, kicking and screaming inside, not focused, and the whole 9, right?
Yeah.
So one day I'd had enough. We're going to get your life back in the 3rd grade. So we come in, I pick her up. We head to the grocery store. On the way there, we did a visualization exercise.
Yeah.
That was the moment of her transformation and her transformative experiences. And since that day, we've been visualizing, tapping, you name it. What modality? You name one.
Yeah.
Deep breath meditation. Breathe, Maddie. When you feel like this, breathe. I want you to visualize what you're thinking. Tell your brain and your heart. Da-da-da-da-da. She's like, I'm cured. I'm cured. Her 4th grade is rocking.
See, this is fascinating. And Mark, I'm going to take us out here because we have about 30 seconds left. And that you're they're so proud of you. And for that to be a reality and what lives you're changing is remarkable. So continue on your bad self out there. Make that difference out there. And every day. So, guys, thanks for watching. Mark, thank you so much for having Lori coming on. And, guys, don't forget, Awaken Atlanta, Surviving Suicide on Tuesday. We all 3 hours talking about that. So enjoy that. We'll see you then. Take care. Adios.
You have been listening to the Good Intentions Show on the UI Radio Network. The Good Intentions Show is sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation at unitedintentions.org. Look for us on Blog Talk, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, and many more. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram under United Intentions and on Twitter at Higher Intention. Be sure to log on to unitedintentions.org, a virtual community where you learn to create, track, and manifest your passions, one intention at a time. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, live life with intent. The United Intentions Foundation and its associates take no responsibility for the opinions and statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests.